Welcome to Integrity Linguistics Institute. Let's begin today's session by reading a positive quote to help you cultivate your confidence levels. Today's quote is this: challenges are the weights that sculpt your character. Embrace them, lift them, and become the masterpiece you're destined to be. So, there is another very important saying in our life. They say, if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if character is lost, everything is lost. So our character is one of the most important things that we need to develop in our life. But no one is born a gentleman, no one is born a really good personality. It is sculpted, and often a really good human being is sculpted or molded through challenging experiences. So challenges come into your life, especially if you are a person who's trying to do good for others, who's trying to work on themselves, who's trying to improve themselves, who's trying to evolve themselves. All right, for selfless, compassionate reasons, life is not going to be easy. It is going to be extremely challenging. But these challenges are not your enemies. They come to your life, so we have to face those challenges, welcome them, embrace them, conquer them in a gentle manner. And that is how you develop your character. And that's the true wealth that you can attain in our lifetime. And that's how you become the masterpiece that you're destined to be. All right, so embrace challenges, never ever run away from your difficulties. Now, what is the golden rule when it comes to mastering the OET? There is just one golden rule, and that is to always rely on the official Cambridge Vauxhall study materials. You can get these materials from the OET website and also from the textbooks that has been published by Cambridge Vauxhall Language Assessment. Now, along with the golden rule, you need to incorporate scope. These are the essential success factors. So, S stands for self-confidence. So you need to be confident, to be bold, to have faith in yourself. No matter what happens, no matter if the entire world is against you, if you believe that you are worthy, if you have the potential, then you must take actions. Never give up on your life. Temporarily fall back, but never permanently settle down. Get back up and face challenges head on and become the best version of yourself. C stands for commitment. So any dream, anything that has meaning and value requires commitment from your side. You really must want to have this. So if you really want to crack the OET with the highest possible marks, you need to make a promise to yourself that you will dedicate your maximum effort to the preparation. O stands for obedience. So you must make sure that you are obeying our instructions and advices, because these are all tested and proven techniques that will really benefit you. P stands for pen and paper for writing down notes. So as you're listening to the classes, please make sure that you're writing down important information into your notebook. And finally, E stands for enthusiasm. So this is how your attitude should be. So when you're preparing for the OET examination, be happy, be enthusiastic, okay, and be excited, and see this as a really good friend. And when the results come, you will be very satisfied. In today's class, we will be discussing the part A from the reading termed Managing Diabetic Foot Ulcers. So before we begin, I would like to share with you the essential reading methods in order to excel your OET reading scores. So basically 3 methods. The first one is comprehension, followed by retention, and finally detection. Comprehension basically means grasping what the question is asking you, that is, understanding what the question is asking you. Retention means registering that information into your memory. So once you understand the question, you must not forget it. You must register that into your memory. And finally, detection. So with that retained into your memory, you must go into the question paper and scan where the answers are located in the text passages. All right. So let's take a look at the part A instructions. You will get 15 minutes time, and there will be 4 texts named text A, B, C, and D. There will be 20 questions, and you have to find the answers to all these questions within 15 minutes. Now, the first 7 questions are match the following questions. So they'll give you one statement and you have to find out from which text this information is coming from. They're coming from text A, B, C, or D. And you must write the answer in the space that is given in your question paper itself. Now, let's take a look into the very first question. So we have to do the keyword analysis. So identify the keywords, do the analysis of the keywords. This is how you comprehend or understand the question. So the first question is this: how often to change a dressing? So if there is a wound and a surgical dressing has been provided for the patient, how often should we change the dressing? That is what the question is asking you. So understand that and retain that into your memory. Okay, we must not forget it. How often to change a dressing? Now it's time to detect. Let's find out where the answer is located. The answer is located in text B. So therefore, you must write B in your answer paper. So let's find out why B is the correct answer. In this statement, they have written, for infected or highly exuding diabetic foot ulcers, inspect the wound and change the dressing daily. Okay, so here they have written, for infected or highly exuding diabetic foot ulcers, the medical staff should first of all inspect the wound and also they should change the surgical dressings each and every day. Okay, the wound dressings every day. So that is how often they are supposed to change it. So the answer is located here and therefore the answer is B as it is located in text B. Now, second question, ensuring patients understand the consequences of tissue removal. So how can we comprehend this? How can we understand this? The question is asking you this. Ensuring patients. So we have to make sure that the patients really understand the consequences of tissue removal. So if the patients undergo tissue removal, there will be certain consequences, and it is very important that the medical staff ensure that these patients understand the end result consequences. Okay, so having understood that, retain that into your memory. Ensuring patients understand the consequences of tissue removal. So with that into your memory, it is time to detect the answer. So let's find out where the answer is located. The answer is located in text C. So the answer is C option. So let's see why C is chosen. So here they have written, practitioners must explain fully to the patients the risks and benefits of debridement in order to gain their informed consent. Okay, so here they have written, to get permission from the patients, the medical staff must explain everything in detail regarding the consequences of tissue removal. So consequences means there will be risky consequences and also positive consequences of what? Tissue removal. Tissue removal's other name is debridement. Okay, so the answer is located over here. So therefore the answer is C option. Now, let's come to the third question. Let's comprehend the third question. Reasons for not choosing certain products. Okay, so there are certain products mentioned, and also they have given some reasons for not choosing those products. So we have to find out where it is located. Retain that into your memory. Reasons for not choosing certain products. So the answer is D. So why is answer D the correct answer? So we can see over here in this table, they have given you some products, a list of products, and the products are dressings for diabetic foot ulcers. And these dressings actually are associated with certain advantages as well as disadvantages. So disadvantages means what? The reasons why we must not choose these products. So the answer is D. So if we choose low adherence dressing product, then it will have minimal absorbency. So for this reason, we must not choose low adherence. If you are choosing hydrogels dressing product, then the reason to not choose this is because it can cause maceration. So therefore, we must not choose hydrogels. Okay, so the answer is D. Now let's come to the fourth question. the need to monitor a wound. Okay, so a patient is having a wound. Okay, and it is very important to monitor the wound. So why is it important? Why is it needed to monitor the wound of the patient? That is what the question is. So we have comprehended the question. So now retain that into your memory. Okay, so the need to monitor a wound. The answer is B. So we have to detect the answer, and the answer is located in the B text. So let's understand why B is the correct answer. So in this statement, they have written, patients should be encouraged to look out for signs of deterioration, such as increased pain, swelling, odor, purulence, or septic symptoms. Okay, so this is the statement over here. So, why is it needed to monitor the wound of the patient? It is needed to monitor the wound of the patient, especially to look out for signs of deterioration. So, if there are any possibilities for signs of deterioration, then definitely they must monitor the wound. Okay, and those indications include feeling increased pain, swelling, odor, and purulence or septic symptoms in the wound. Okay, so this is the reason why B is chosen as the correct answer. Now, the fifth question, how common each kind of DFU is. So let's understand the fifth question. How common, that is, how prevalent or how often can we find each kind, that is, each type of DFU. Okay, there are different types of diabetic foot ulcers and the statistics, like how prevalent it is in the human population. So understand that and retain it into your memory, how common each kind of DFU is. So now let's detect the answer. And the answer is A. Okay, text A. So let's understand why it is text A. So if you look over here, they have written prevalence. Okay, that is prevalence means among the human population, how much it is present. Okay, so these are the different types of diabetic foot ulcers. So the first kind is neuropathic diabetic foot ulcer. The second kind is ischemic diabetic foot ulcer. And the third one is neuroischemic diabetic foot ulcer. Neuropathic is found in 35% of the human population. Ischemic is found in 15%, and neuroischemic is 50%. So this is the most common, this is the second most common, and this is the least common type of DFU. And that was the question. So therefore, answer option A is the correct answer. Now, the sixth question. Let's comprehend the sixth question. How good a dressing is at soaking up fluid? Okay, so how good, like it, that means how much capacity does a dressing have to soak up fluid? Soaking means what? To absorb. Okay, so like a sponge, how good does a dressing have the ability to absorb fluids? Okay, so understand that and retain that into your memory. How good a dressing is at absorbing or soaking up fluid. So the answer option is, the answer is D. The answer is located in text D. So why is the answer D chosen over here? Let's see. So here they have written dressings, low adherence dressings. Okay, and low adherence dressings, and they have written minimal absorbency. So that means what? Low adherence dressing has very poor ability to soak up fluid. Okay, it has only very minimal absorbency. Whereas hydrocolloid dressings are absorbent. Absorbent means they are good. They are good at soaking fluid. That is, they are good at absorbing fluid. Hydrogels dressing, these are also absorbent. That means they have the ability to soak up fluid. Foams, good absorbency. So these are also very good products to absorb fluids. Alginates dressings, they are highly absorbent. That means they are really, really good at absorbing fluids. And silver impregnated dressings are also very nice. Okay, so this was the question and this is the answer. So the answer option is text D. So now we have completed the first 7 questions. Now let's take a look into the next section of the questions over here. All right. So let's read the instructions. Answer the following questions 8 to 13 with a word or short phrase from one of the texts. Each answer may include words, numbers, or both. You should not write full sentences. So there are questions from 8 to 13, and you must write either one word as your answer or a short phrase. Okay, that's two or three words together. Okay, and it can be alphabets and it can be numerical digits or both as well. But there is no need to write full sentences. So let's read the seventh question and let's understand the seventh question. What kind of DFU is it if a patient has lost all sensation? Okay, so the question is asking you, if there is a patient who is suffering from DFU and the patient has lost all sensation, that is, all feeling is lost, then what type of DFU is the patient suffering from? This is the question. Okay, so now retain that into your memory. What kind of DFU is it if a patient has lost all sensation? So you have retained the information and now it is time to detect. So let's detect the answer, and the answer is detected to be neuropathic. So let's understand why neuropathic is chosen the right answer. So in this particular table, there are three different types of DFUs: neuropathic diabetic foot ulcer, ischemic diabetic foot ulcer, and neuroischemic diabetic foot ulcer. So the first keyword that we are looking for is sensation. And in sensation, they have written sensory loss. Sensory loss means there is no feeling at all. So if there is no feeling at all, no sensations, then that type of DFU is neuropathic. So therefore, we must write neuropathic. But under neuroischemic also, they have written sensory loss, but degree of sensory loss. Degree means what? It is not completely lost. Okay, there is still some extent, to a certain extent only, sensory loss has happened. Okay, so therefore, for this reason, because of these two words over here, we cannot choose neuroischemic. The correct answer is neuropathic. Now, eighth question. Let's comprehend the eighth question. If a patient's diabetic foot ulcer is beneath the nail, what kind is it likely to be? Okay, so the patient is having a diabetic foot ulcer. Okay, and this diabetic foot ulcer is beneath the nail. That is, it is below the nail in the foot, below the nail or in the foot. Then, in that situation, what type of DFU is the patient suffering from? So that's the question. And now, having understood the question, retain that into your mind. If a patient's DFU is beneath the nail, that is under the nail, what kind is it likely to be? All right. So what is the answer? So we can detect the answer to be neuroischemic. Okay, so both are the same only. Both these spellings are actually accepted by the OET. So the correct answer is neuroischemic. So in this particular table, you can see over here under neuroischemic, and they have written over here. See, it actually affects this particular part, margins of the foot and under the toenails. Okay, so under the toenails means what? Beneath the toenails. So beneath the toenails, the answer is actually going to be neuroischemic. And over here and over here, they have never mentioned beneath the toenails. Here they have written nail edges. So nail edges are different, but beneath the toenail is what we're looking for. So therefore, the correct answer is neuroischemic DFU. Now, the ninth question. What type of dressing should you avoid if a patient's wound is infected? Okay, so here let's understand the question by doing the keyword analysis. So what type of dressing should a medical staff not use? The medical staff should actually avoid if the patient's wound is infected. So if there is an infected wound, then the medical staff should not use one particular type of dressing. And what is that? That is what we have to find out. All right, so now you can register that into your memory. What type of dressing should you avoid if a patient's wound is infected? And the correct answer is hydrocolloids. Okay, so why is hydrocolloids the right answer? So you can find it over here. Okay, so here they have written under disadvantages of hydrocolloids, concerns about use for infected wounds. Okay, so if we are using hydrocolloids dressings, okay, then there is probably a great risk associated, especially if the wound is infected. If we are using this for infected wounds, then there will be concerns. So therefore, this is the dressing that we must avoid using for infected wounds. So the answer is hydrocolloids. Now, the 10th question. If you need to fill a cavity, which dressing is best? Okay, so let's understand the question over here. So if the medical staff needs to fill a cavity, cavity means what? Cavity means a hole. Okay, so something like a hole is what we call a cavity. So if they need to fill that cavity, which dressing should the medical staff use? So retain that into your memory. If you need to fill a cavity, which dressing is best? Now detect the answer. So the answer is detected to be alginates. So why is this the right answer? Let me explain to you. So alginates, here they have written, useful for packing deep wounds. So deep wounds means what? That there is a cavity, right? So as I told you earlier, cavity basically means a hole. Okay, so a deep wound basically is a cavity only, a very deep cavity. Now the question was, what type of dressing should they use to fill in that cavity? So the another word for filling is packing. So alginates are really good dressings to fill the cavity because it is useful for packing deep wounds. So the answer is alginates. All right. The 11th question. Which types of dressing may cause an inflammation of the skin? So let's comprehend the question over here. So which types of dressing may cause inflammation? That is, if a patient is given one particular type of dressing, then that dressing will cause the skin of the patient to become inflamed. Okay, that is what we understand. So now retain that into your memory. Which types of dressing may cause an inflammation of the skin? So let's detect the answer. The answer is detected to be foams. So why is this chosen? Under foams over here, they have written occasional dermatitis. So foams is a type of dressing. Okay, and if you are using foams, then this will actually cause the patient to develop dermatitis. And dermatitis basically means what? Inflammation of the skin. So therefore, it is in alignment with the question asked. So therefore, foams is the answer. Now, the 12th question. If cost is an issue, which dressing is best? So let's understand the 12th question. So if cost means what? Expense, price, okay, budget. So if cost is an issue, okay, that means the patient is very poor. The patient does not have enough money to afford expensive treatments. Then in that situation, which dressing is most suitable for that particular patient? That is what we have to find out. So now we have comprehended the question. Now it's time to retain the question into your memory. So if cost is an issue, which dressing is best? So with that in your mind, you must try to detect the answer. And the answer is detected to be low adherence dressings. So why is this the correct answer? Low adherence dressings, and they have written under the section advantages that it is inexpensive. Inexpensive means the opposite of expensive. That means it is very cheap. Okay, so therefore, if the patient is a poor patient and cost is an issue, is a problem for the patient, then the best suitable dressing is low adherence dressing because it is very cheap. It is inexpensive. So therefore, the answer is low adherence. 13th question. Let's comprehend the 13th question. Which two types of diabetic foot ulcers often show signs of necrosis? Okay, so there are two different types of diabetic foot ulcers, and both of these diabetic foot ulcers show signs of necrosis. Okay, so both of these DFUs are associated with indications of necrosis. So we have to find out what those two different types of DFUs are. So retain that into your mind. Which two types of DFU often show signs of necrosis? And the correct answer is ischemic DFU and neuroischemic DFU. So why is this chosen? So here, as you can see in this particular table, the ischemic, neuroischemic, and neuropathic DFUs are mentioned. And under this row, necrosis. And under necrosis, they have written over here, under ischemic, necrosis is seen. Okay, that is dead tissue, and it is very, very common. In ischemic, necrosis is very common. And under neuroischemic also, there is a prone, that is the patient is vulnerable or the patient is likely to develop necrosis. Okay, but over here, necrosis is not mentioned. Okay, only callus is mentioned. So for these reasons, ischemic and neuroischemic is chosen as the right answer. The 14th question, which type of dressing provides moisture to a wound? All right. So the question is asking you, if we choose one particular type of dressing, that dressing is going to provide moisture to the wound. Moisture means what? Water content. Okay, so this dressing is going to provide moisture or water to the wound of the patient. So we have understood that. Retain that into your memory. Which type of dressing provides moisture to the wound? So with that in your mind, try to detect the answer. The answer is detected to be hydrogels. So why is this the right answer? Hydrogels. And here, as you can see, under advantages, they have written hydrogels donate liquid. Donate liquid means what? Hydrogels actually contain water. So this type of dressings, they actually contain water and they donate the liquid to the wound. That is, it moisturizes the wound of the patient. And that was the question. And therefore, this is the answer, hydrogels. All right. So now we have completed that section as well. Now, in this section, complete each of the sentences, 15 to 20, with a word or short phrase from one of the texts. Each answer may include words, numbers, or both. Okay, so from questions 15 to 20, we have to fill in the sentences. So there's an incomplete sentence and we have to complete the sentence with either one single word or a short phrase. And you can use both alphabets as well as numbers or both as well. Now, let's read the 15th question and understand it. The 15th question is this. Check that dash will still go on after the dressing has been applied. Okay, so here the question is this. The medical staff should check that something will still go on. Okay, so there is an object and that object will still go on after the dressing has been applied. That is, the patient has given the dressing and after the dressing, some object will still go on for the patient. Okay, so what is that thing that we have to find out? So we have comprehended the question. Retain that into your memory. Check that dash will still go on after the dressing has been applied. And the answer is detected to be footwear. So let's understand why footwear is the correct answer. So in this particular part, they have written, remember that footwear needs to accommodate any dressing. Okay, so if the patient is having a diabetic foot ulcer and the patient has been given a dressing, then the medical staff should check that after the dressing has been applied to the foot of the diabetic patient, footwear, the patient should still be able to wear sandals, shoes, and socks. Okay, that is, footwear must be still be able to be worn by the patient even after that dressing has been provided to the patient. So what is the answer going to be? The answer is going to be footwear. All right. Now, the 16th question. Let's comprehend the 16th question. The dressing should follow the shape of the wound so that there is no dash. Okay, so when the medical staff is giving a dressing to the diabetic foot ulcer patient, they should make sure that the dressing should follow the shape of the wound. So whatever is the shape of the wound, exactly that similar shape of the wound should be enclosed by that particular dressing. And there is a specific reason. There is a specific reason why the dressing should always be in the same shape of the wound. Why? To prevent something. Okay, so there is no something. So in order to prevent or avoid something from happening, the dressing should be the same shape of the wound. So we have comprehended the question. Now you have to retain that into your memory. The dressing should follow the shape of the wound so that there is no dash. And what is the answer? The answer is detected as dead space. To prevent dead space, to avoid dead space, we must make sure that the dressing actually is in the shape of the wound. So why is that? Let's find out. Ensure wound dead space is eliminated. Example, use a dressing that conforms to the contours of the wound bed. So here they have used very advanced vocabulary. Okay, so the medical staff should ensure that dead space is eliminated. See, to prevent this, to prevent dead space, they have to make sure that the dressing is in the same shape of the wound. So where are the keywords? Using a dressing, so that is one keyword, that conforms. Conforms basically means to adjust. Okay, to actually be, to mold in. Okay, so that is what conforms means. To conforms to the contours. Contours basically means shape. Okay, design. Okay, so that's a very advanced vocabulary. So contours basically means shape or pathway. So this is how the dressing should be. The dressing should actually be conform to the unique contours of the wound, because this is done. If this is done properly, then the medical staff can prevent dead space. Okay, so for that, dead space is chosen as the right answer. All right, now the 17th question. Let's comprehend the 17th question. Draw a line around any dash and ask the patient to get in touch if it worsens. Okay, so the medical staff should draw a line. They should draw a line around something. So there is something on the patient's body, and around that they should draw a line. And also, after drawing that line, they should ask the patient to contact the medical staff if that particular wound becomes intense or more severe. Okay, so we have understood that. So now you can actually retain that into your memory. So draw a line around any dash and ask the patient to get in touch if it worsens. So the answer is detected to be cellulitis. So why is cellulitis chosen over here? So here they have written, it is a good idea to mark the extent of any cellulitis with an indelible marker and tell the patient to contact the foot care team immediately if the redness moves substantially beyond the line. So both the messages of our question is coming over here. Okay, so the first part of the question was what? To draw a line around something. And the second message was to contact the medical staff if it becomes worse. So that is, both the messages are coming in this particular section. They have written, it is a good idea to mark. See, good idea to mark means to draw lines. To mark the extent, that means to how much extent, to how much degree cellulitis is there on the patient. Okay, so if there is any cellulitis, the medical staff should actually mark it. They should actually draw a line around the cellulitis, and they should draw that line or mark that line with an indelible marker. They must use this. Okay, and they should also tell the patient, they should also request the patient to contact the foot care team immediately if it becomes worse. That is, if the redness moves substantially beyond the line. Okay, so cellulitis is usually associated with a red color. And if that red color moves past that line, so if you have drawn a line around the cellulitis, and if the redness goes beyond that line, then the patient should contact the footwear team immediately. Okay, so this is what. So they should draw the line around the cellulitis of the patient. Now let's read the 19th question. You might need to involve a dash in the patient's care if you cannot detect a pulse in the foot. Okay, so the medical staff needs to involve something in the patient's care. Okay, so if there is something in the patient's care, in the medical treatment plan, they should involve something, they should add something there, especially if the medical staff cannot detect a pulse in the foot. So if there is no pulse in the foot, they need to involve one particular type of treatment or something into the medical care of the patient. Okay, so retain that into your mind. You need to involve a dash in the patient's care if you cannot detect a pulse in the foot. And now it's time to detect the answer. And the answer is vascular surgeon. So let's find out why vascular surgeon is the right answer. So under the heading debridement of DFUs, they have written if foot pulses are absent. So see, immediately the keywords are coming. If there is no pulse in the foot, okay, foot pulses are absent, assessment and management of the peripheral vasculature is mandatory. That is, it is very important to assess as well as manage the peripheral vasculature. That is the superficial outside vasculature, and that is compulsory before removal of non-viable or necrotic tissue is considered. Okay, so non-viable means not important. Okay, viable means important, non-viable means not important, or necrotic tissue. Necrotic tissue means dead tissues. Okay, so before the medical staff removes the dead tissue, okay, or the non-important tissue, they, especially if the pulses in the foot are actually absent, then over here, you can see over here, referral to a vascular surgeon is suggested in this situation. Okay, so in this particular situation, so what is the situation over here? The situation over here is that there is no pulse in the foot. Okay, there is no pulse in the foot. And in the treatment plan, what's happening? The removal of non-viable or necrotic tissue, that's the treatment plan. But along with the treatment plan, we have to involve one thing. And who we should involve? We should involve the vascular surgeon. Okay, so the vascular surgeon needs to be involved into the treatment plan. And this is done in the case where foot pulses are absent. So therefore, the answer is vascular surgeon. The 19th question. To maintain good blood flow, leave dash free of tight bandages. Okay, so let's comprehend the question. So to maintain what? Good blood flow. So to ensure that the patient is having good circulation of the blood, the medical staff should leave something free. Okay, so leave means don't disturb. Okay, so leave something free of tight bandages. So that means the medical staff should not use tight bandages on something, because if they use tight bandages on something, then there will not be good blood flow. So to make sure there is good blood flow, the medical staff should actually leave something free of tight bandages. Okay, so that is the question. Again, so it's not that easy. Some questions are easy, some questions are not that easy. Okay, but still try your best. So now retain that into your mind. Okay, so now you have retained this information to your mind. To maintain good blood flow, leave something free, that is, avoid tight bandages. So what is the answer? The answer is detected to be toes. So let's find out why toes is the correct answer. Applying dressings to DFUs. Here they have written, avoid bandaging over toes, as this may cause a tourniquet effect. Okay, so this is the reason why. And here also they have written, avoid tight bandaging at the fifth toe and the fifth metatarsal head. Trim the bandage back. Okay, so in order to prevent the tourniquet effect, okay, that is to make sure there is good circulation of the blood, we must avoid bandaging over the toes, and we must also avoid them tight bandages, especially in the fifth toe as well as the fifth metatarsal head. Okay, so anyway, the answer is actually going to be toes. Okay, because this is where the bandaging, especially tight bandages, should be avoided. Because if we do that, then there will be no blood circulation, in which is can be torn, it is called as the tourniquet effect. Okay, Now the 20th question. Let's comprehend the 20th question. Make sure the wound is level. Otherwise, the dash will not be able to grow across it. Okay, so the medical staff should make sure that the wound is level. Level means what? In the same steady state. That is what level basically means. Okay, otherwise, what will happen? Something will not be able to grow across it. Okay, so if the wound level is actually misaligned, if the wound is not in the same level, okay, then something will not grow. Okay, so we have to find out otherwise the dash won't be able to grow across. So something will not be able to grow. Something will not be able to grow if the wound is not going to be level. So what is not going to grow? What is not going to grow across the wound if the wound is not leveled? That is what we have to find out. So retain into your mind, make sure the wound is level. Otherwise, the dash will not be able to grow across it. So what will not be able to grow across it? Epithelium. This is the correct answer. So why is this the right answer? You can read it over here. It is important to debride the wound margins as well as the wound base to prevent the edge effect, whereby epithelium fails to migrate across a firm level granulation base. Okay, so as you can see over here, epithelium fails to migrate. Migrate across means what? To grow from one part to another. If it is migrating means it is growing from one part of the body to other part of the body. Okay, so this will not happen. If this will not happen, if there is the edge effect. Okay, so it is important to debride. This means it is important to remove the tissues, the wound margins as well. Okay, wound, that is the edges of the wound as well as the wound base. Wound base means the center of the wound. The center of the wound and also the wound margins. Both the wound base as well as the wound margins, the center as well as the edges, the margins of the wound needs to be removed. Okay, so this is done. Why is this done? This is done to prevent the edge effect. Okay, so if the to edge effect is not a good thing for the patient, to prevent that, the debridement is done from the wound margins as well as the wound base as well. So why is this done? To prevent edge effect. Okay, so what is the edge effect? Edge effect basically means the epithelium fails to grow across a firm level granulation base. Okay, so that is what the edge effect basically means. That is the skin, that the epithelium, it will not migrate. It will not migrate across the level of the wound. Okay, so to prevent this from happening, we have to do this in this particular manner. So the answer is going to be epithelium. Okay, so you have to make sure it is in the same level from the wound base to the edges of the wound. It is in the same level. So epithelium can grow. Epithelium can grow from the wound base to the margins of the brace. Okay, so we have to really understand in this particular manner. So the answer is going to be epithelium. All right, so that marks the end of this session. So thank you for choosing Integrity Linguistics Institute. Among all these people, I would like to express my gratitude for choosing us to help you prepare for your OET preparation. All right, and always remember this, you are not just students, you are cherished, valued, and deeply loved. As you move forward, carry our love with you. Wishing you all the very best. If you have any thoughts, inquiries, or feedback, please do let us know by sending us an email at integritylinguistics@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. So thank you so much for your time. Have a fantastic day.